Why Fikirtepe?
That was 4-5 years ago when we said that. Prices will start climbing up like that.
So what's happening around Fikirtepe?
The fastest and most effective regeneration I've seen in Istanbul. You see as lifestyle, I see as investment. Today, Fikirtepe is here. Price has gone up. It's a success story, but it's not completed. And I keep saying it is a buy zone. You wish to invest in Turkish real estate? Time is now, not next year, now.
Hello, Property Turkey family, and welcome yet to another episode of Straight Talk. We will be talking about an interesting area on the Asian side. It was one of our main focuses for investment and lifestyle around 5-6 years ago. So this area is Fikirtepe, and we're going to retouch on that for a very good reason. Today, I will be your voice as client, whether investor or the lifestyle buyer, or maybe both of them. I will be asking you questions, voicing your opinion, and talking about your concern with Cameron Diggins. So today, I'm going to be voicing you. And please, if you have any question or any point that we didn't touch upon, please have it in the comments and we will definitely get back to you. Hi, Cameron.
Hello there, Mani.
How are you? I'm very well.
How are you?
We're talking over each other. I'm doing great too. Actually, as you heard me, I will be voicing our clients' concerns. I will ask the questions, and I will try to, in this episode, I'll try to cover all aspects of Fikirtepe, how it was, how we spoke about Fikirtepe, a few years back, and how Fikirtepe is today.
Very
so,
well.
Let's recap a little bit on Fikirtepe, Cameron. Let's talk about that area. Let's talk about the Asian side also and focus on Kadıköy and Fikirtepe.
Fikirtepe is an area that we touched upon, well, more than touched upon. We really and truly focused back end of 2019 and throughout 2020. And what we had said and what we had advised at the time is that Fikirtepe is an area that's going to happen. It's an area whose star will rise sharply over the 3 to 5 to 10 years. Now, that was 4-5 years ago when we said that. So what I'd like to do is recap what happened in Fikirtepe in the last 4 to 5 years, whether indeed what we said happened. Now, Fikirtepe is one of Istanbul's most important, certainly the largest regeneration zone, urban regeneration zone. It is located on the Anatolian side, what we call the Asian side of Istanbul, just across the Bosphorus. You cross the Bosphorus from Beşiktaş, from Ortaköy, Beşiktaş, the very, very heart of the European side, and you land on Kadıköy, which is the very heart of the Anatolian Asian side of Istanbul. And Fikirtepe is by car 5 to 7 minutes from Kadıköy. In fact, it's part of Kadıköy.
Yes, the big municipality is Kadıköy, and Fikirtepe is a neighborhood.
It's a district, isn't it?
It's a district in Kadıköy.
Within Kadıköy.
Within Kadıköy.
So Kadıköy is the municipality.
True.
And Fikirtepe is a district within Kadıköy.
100%. It's located on the E5 highway that reaches directly to the Bosphorus Bridge, the first Bosphorus Bridge.
Exactly. So the E5 highway, which is one of the main arteries of Istanbul, it kind of goes all around Istanbul, European side and Asian side, distributing traffic to different parts of Istanbul. E5 straddles Fikirtepe, collects the traffic from Fikirtepe onto Kadıköy, then onto the Bosphorus. Now, Fikirtepe, 4-5 years ago, all the way up to the end of 2019, was what I would term a shanty town. It was a shanty town with haphazardly built buildings.
Yes, true.
Hardly any of them at the time earthquake compliant. And as you know, we stressed it over and over again. 60% of Istanbul's stock is not compliant to earthquakes. They were built in the years 60s, 70s, 80s, and partway through the 90s. And the earthquake regulations, the new and currently in practice earthquake regulations, were issued in 2002. So properties built before need to be thoroughly checked because a great majority of them may not be earthquake compliant. So Fikirtepe had a great deal of those properties. And in addition to that, Fikirtepe had vast areas of buildable land. Now, that's unique.
It is.
Fikirtepe
As
is
an
central.
urban generation, yes.
It's central. Really and truly, Fikirtepe is one of the centers of Istanbul. Because
True,
Kadıköy
because
is the
Kadıköy-
prominent center.
Exactly. So, guys, just to make it clear, Kadıköy and Üsküdar are the center of Istanbul, not just the Asian side. Because in
Oh,
Istanbul, how we
yes.
measure the center is by the Bosphorus. Both
Yes.
sides of the Bosphorus, almost 10 kilometers for both sides. We consider this the center, the historic center, the center
Exactly.
of what we used to call Istanbul before Constantinople, I guess, before.
Constantinopolis.
So, exactly. This is Istanbul
Exactly.
city center. Kadıköy, Fikirtepe is in the center of Istanbul.
The heart of Istanbul, really.
Exactly.
And to find vacant land, buildable land in such a central area is,
Not that easy, is it?
well, it's very, very difficult because
Yes.
there's hardly any sizable buildable land left in any central parts of Istanbul.
100%.
And up until 5 years ago, we had this opportunity in Fikirtepe. So obviously, the government realized that Fikirtepe is a rare opportunity for regeneration in such a central spot of Istanbul. Very, very close, which is a big plus, to Istanbul Finance Center. It's kind of
True.
the overflow of Istanbul Finance Center, which I shall talk about a bit later, also the impact of that.
Yes.
Now, so Fikirtepe regeneration started in around 2017-18. That's when the government came up with their plan to regenerate Fikirtepe to create a modern, contemporary, high-tech township in the heart of the Anatolian side, Asian side of Istanbul, called Fikirtepe. They started. At the time, prices in Fikirtepe compared to neighboring districts, 3-4 minutes drive,
Yeah.
that close. 20-25 minute walk, that close when I say neighboring. Like Kadıköy, like the infamous Baghdad Avenue, which is Champs-Élysées of Istanbul. It's regarded as the Champs-Élysées of Istanbul, with trendy cafes, restaurants, wide roads, lights. It's the street of lights.
It is actually.
Baghdad, it is. Exactly. We're talking about this very, very important area.
Yes.
So they started regenerating Fikirtepe. Now, from 2019 to 2024, where we are now, the regeneration in Fikirtepe has been incredible. It's probably the fastest and most effective regeneration I've seen in Istanbul. Why? Well, when you look at areas like Beşiktaş, Beyoğlu,
Yeah.
where Taksim is, Şişli, where we are, these are as
Heights.
central as Fikirtepe, Kadıköy, as central on the European side. And these areas also need significant regeneration efforts because there are some old houses, old streets that again are not compliant, earthquake compliant. So we need plenty of regeneration in this zone. However, regeneration in Beşiktaş, in Beyoğlu, in Şişli is more difficult because these areas are densely built. They're old, and in terms of infrastructure, they're old and mature too, which is a good thing as well as a bad thing when it comes to regeneration.
Yes.
So to go through, obtain the approval and authority of thousands and thousands of incumbent stakeholders in these areas, the landlords, people who live in these areas, the residents, is one of the most difficult tasks you can imagine.
100,
To get them to agree,
100%.
to actually obtain the planning permissions, to present to the local municipality what you will do that will be agreed and approved by all stakeholders. You can imagine how difficult this is.
It is. It is actually quite challenging and difficult. And every time I'm talking to my clients over the phone, telling them about the urban generation in Istanbul and how neighborhoods are being regenerated, we touch upon this particular subject because for anyone to jump in urban generation and want to regenerate even a small plot of few buildings, it takes a lot of checks.
It takes years.
Exactly. And you need to have the approval or the ownership of each and every landlord in that particular area or your project in order for you to start getting the permissions.
Even to start getting the permissions.
Exactly.
So even before you can get a permission to start the regeneration, you have years and years of deliberations with the landlords.
True.
To get their approvals, and very difficult process.
So here in Fikirtepe, we don't really encounter that, do we? Yes.
Why?
Yes, why?
Because in Fikirtepe, lot sizes are much, much bigger than, say, in Şişli, which means with one regeneration approval, one regeneration project, you can clear one entire street. Whereas the same amount of effort and time would only give you one little block in Şişli. That's the biggest difference. And also availability of land. As I said at the beginning, Fikirtepe area has huge amount, not anymore, huge amounts of land prime for regeneration and urban planning, new contemporary urban planning. No discussions, no approvals. All you need is to have your project in line with the zoning of the area, and there's all the incentives from the government with government contractors involved in Fikirtepe fully, who will be your contractors. With all those incentives, you will get your planning permissions very, very quickly, which is what happened in Fikirtepe, because it's a regeneration zone promoted by the government.
How much happens in the last, 3-4 years from us talking about Fikirtepe until Fikirtepe right now? How much happens? How much of our prediction or Property Turkey prediction had happened in Fikirtepe so far?
Okay, here's what it is. 2019-20, when we said jump onto the bandwagon today, Fikirtepe, Kadıköy was here in terms of desirability and price. Kadıköy. Baghdad Street, Baghdad Avenue was even here. That's Kadıköy average. Baghdad average is here. So we're talking about the immediately neighboring areas of Fikirtepe. Their prices were here. Fikirtepe at the time was here. You could walk the difference in 15-20 minutes, and in 15-20 minutes you would walk from this price range to this price range. Today Fikirtepe is here. Price has gone up. Price has gone up. From 2019 to 2020, prices in Fikirtepe have gone up noticeably. Although, as you know, we're going through a slow market right now. The last 10 months or so, real estate market in Turkey has been rather slow. So prices are stagnant in Fikirtepe now. They're no longer going up. Well, prices are rather stagnant in most parts of Turkey now. So Fikirtepe is not the only place. So if we look at the regeneration that happened in Fikirtepe, it happened exactly as we predicted. We said Fikirtepe in 4 to 5 years is going to look completely different. We said that back in 2019. And today, compared to 2019-20, Fikirtepe does indeed look like a different place. It looks like it's been regenerated. There are modern contemporary buildings, wide roads, a lot of very good infrastructure is coming in place, partially done, partially still to be done. So Fikirtepe's regeneration is a success story, but it's not completed. There's still kind of the very last 30% or so to be regenerated. So it's been 60-70% done already, but we have the last 30%, 40% to go. And that is, in terms of regeneration, what I call the icing on the cake. Because when the regeneration happens, you look and you like what you see. So currently, we're still going through the last 30-40%.
And I want to look at the whole region, not just Fikirtepe and Kadıköy. I want to see also what's happening around Fikirtepe. So is there still any chance, is there any window still open for making investments and money in that area?
In my opinion, there is significant gains to come in Fikirtepe still. If the past performance of Fikirtepe is a good indication of what is there to happen going forward, then yes, I think there is still a lot of meat on the bone, as you put it. Fikirtepe's prices have gone up quite considerably already. And the price increase that we saw from 2019 onwards is perfectly in line with the regeneration efforts, as the area got further and further regenerated with the right infrastructure, with contemporary modern residences, and with, eventually the area looking pretty smart, majority of it now. Prices rose in line with that. Now, the fact that the last 10 months or so, we're going through a slow market, which I term as a buy zone, and I keep saying it is a buy zone. You wish to invest in Turkish real estate? Time is now, not next year, now. It is a buy zone, so prices are not going up right now, but this is what I expect. However, once we come out of the buy zone, again, my prediction, around the first quarter of next year, we shall see regenerated activity in the market, and round about this time next year, June, July next year, the market will be doing very well again. I can smell it, I can see it. So if you haven't taken your positions by then, you probably are going to miss quite a sizable gain that you could have done. So now, is Fikirtepe still going to rise? Of course. Look at Kadıköy. Look at the average price in Kadıköy and compare that to the average price in Fikirtepe today. There is still a significant gap.
You mean Kadıköy Center, that Kadıköy Moda site,
Look
and Kadıköy Merkez, what we call it here in Turkey.
Look at
Merkez.
Moda. Look at Fenerbahçe. Look at around all the districts and neighborhoods around Baghdad Avenue and compare the prices to Fikirtepe. Now, Fikirtepe, once it is completed, which in my opinion, there's no more than 3 to 5 years to go for full regeneration and face uplift of Fikirtepe. That's the maximum time, and you will see when you drive around there. When it is completed, I think Fikirtepe will be an easier place to live. What I mean by that is this: easier parking, because most residences have underground car parking, so none of that parking on the pavements that you see mostly in Kadıköy everywhere.
Yes.
Okay, none of that. It will have wider roads. It already has more green areas per head than even the most expensive parts of Kadıköy, such as Moda, Fenerbahçe. More green areas per head already it has. So when you look at Fikirtepe as an area for lifestyle, as an area for middle classes and upwardly mobile people to move into, it will be a perfect area for them. So with the right combination of the right sizes of properties, from 1 bedroom to 2 bedroom to 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom. So Fikirtepe is being developed as an area that addresses the needs of contemporary urban living. So once it gets there, I expect Fikirtepe's prices to be competing with Kadıköy, Baghdad Avenue, even Moda and Fenerbahçe, which are some of the most premium areas on the Asian side of Istanbul. I expect Fikirtepe to come rather close to them, which means prices in Fikirtepe will still go up, in my prediction, by around 70% before they kind of reach a level of maturity. And that 70% I expect will kick in from now till 2030, which is what, another 6 years to go.
Okay, Cameron, now I have to ask you this. By the World Bank prediction, and actually what you just have said in one of the videos last week, the current GDP of Turkey is 1.1 trillion, if I'm not mistaken,
It is.
so far. And the projection, the World Bank projection, and you also agreed with that in one of your episodes last week, that by 2030, the GDP of the country will be around 1.8 trillion, which means what you just have said about the appreciation in Fikirtepe, which means actually 70%. And looking at the history of the prices growing in Istanbul real estate market, of course, it's more or less exactly the GDP of the country growth too. So why would I come to Fikirtepe? Why I wouldn't go, for example, to another part of Istanbul, maybe Shishli, Taksim, something like this? Why Fikirtepe? And what is the reason behind the growth you're claiming in Fikirtepe, since we're talking about the same numbers almost?
That's a very good question. I like that. Fikirtepe area is one of those areas where the general ambiance, the general environment, the curb appeal, as we call it, the feel-good factor, as we call it, of the area is rapidly being enhanced. And over the next 3 to 5 years, which is the very final slice of Fikirtepe's regeneration, this job will be completed. And what I foresee is when that time comes, close to 2030, I think Fikirtepe will be an area at par with Baghdad Avenue, with Moda, with Fenerbahce on the Asian side, with Central Shishli, with best parts of Beşiktaş, Nişantaşı, Etile on the European side. Now, that means that the growth that we anticipate Fikirtepe to see from now or from next year to 2030 is likely to be over and above the average price growth in Istanbul. So yes, I still insist on Fikirtepe as one of the top investment areas. But there's one more very good reason.
Yes, I want to hear that.
Why I want to bring focus back onto Fikirtepe.
Mm-hmm.
Because back in 2019 and 20, when we stuck our neck out and when we said invest in Fikirtepe, we didn't just say it. We did it ourselves too. We did it ourselves. What we did at the time, that was more 2020, is we identified what, in our opinion, in our judgment, were the best performing, or rather, those developments would perform the best in terms of design, in terms of viability, in terms of lifestyle, and in terms of course, price appreciation. We selected around 7, 8 of them all over Fikirtepe, and we invested in them ourselves. At the time, 2020, that was early 2020, we invested close to 40 apartments, as Property Turkey. We invested in them when they were off plan. Some of them were just approved. Not
So
even a pin on the
pre-launch.
ground. Pre-launch to off-plan stage, we invested. Now, all of those developments are now completed.
Yes.
And we still have them. And we still have them at the prices we paid for them back in 2020. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that bucket onto market now.
I see. Okay.
I'm going to bring that market on the market, undercutting the average market prices of comparable key-ready properties in Fikirtepe by close to 40%. Because prices in Fikirtepe from 2019 till now have gone up by 40%.
I see.
And I've got the prices from 2020.
Are those units also will allow me as an investor or a lifestyle buyer to obtain residence permit, citizenship?
Of course. Well, I mean, residency permit, as you know, is the threshold, I think, is what, $200,000 of investment.
Yes.
And yes, these units will qualify for residency. And yes, these units, upon $400,000 of investment, will qualify you for Turkish citizenship. Yes.
Okay.
They're suitable. Yeah.
Okay. So now I want to ask you a question, actually, which tells me, like, give me one word: lifestyle or investment?
For me, Fikirtepe is investment. I look at it as a good investment.
Okay. Actually, I look at it also as a very good area for lifestyle. Being as close to the finance center, which is the finance center is being built also by the government. And I want to also mention this, guys, because the finance center is not ready yet. It's still under also being constructed right now, almost similar to Fikirtepe. We're talking about 70%, 75% have been done.
Yeah.
So I see it as a lifestyle also for those white-collar workers in the finance center, which will be working for international companies, big companies, which already in Ataşehir, we do have the finance center. I just want to highlight this one because in Istanbul, officially, we have 3 business and finance center. We do have Maslak and Levent in European side. We have Ataşehir and the new finance center, which located exactly on the same spot next to each other, which close also to Fikirtepe in the Asian side. So the finance center, people who live in the finance center, they don't want to travel all the way in Istanbul because we know Istanbul is massive city. So Fikirtepe being as much connected with the proper infrastructure, transportation, metro plans, metrobus, and even train was open, and then the Marmara train was open. I'm not going to talk much of the details about the transportation. But Fikirtepe also could be ideal for lifestyle for those families because you have so many greeny areas. It's very well done, developed area that is meant to actually give or provide a certain quality and lifestyle for people who want to be in that spot. Fikirtepe is an area in there also. I can see it because why also it's good for families? Because within maximum 10 minutes, you are at the seaside, where also in Istanbul, we all know that the seaside has a lot of things to offer, cafes, restaurants, walking around. You're also no more than 10 to 15 minutes away from Shishli through the Bosphorus Bridge. That Fikirtepe is actually to the almost southern part, let's say, but it's on that highway with the metro connection. So I think more of Fikirtepe to be both lifestyle and investment. Investment for those who's looking for the capital growth of the area, those who are looking for handsome returns, because guys, again, going back to the finance center, being as close to that finance center where will be more than 15,000 workers just working in the finance center being constructed right now.
More than 50,000.
50, okay.
Of course. Istanbul Finance Center is being built to accommodate between 50 to 70,000 employees at one point in time.
True.
At one point in time. And the reason I said investment immediately is also because of Istanbul Finance Center. Because Istanbul Finance Center is so close to Fikirtepe. In fact, the development of Istanbul Finance Center, the big push that they gave to Istanbul Finance Center exactly coincides with the commencement of Fikirtepe Regeneration. The two things kind of started at the same time and they go hand in hand because Fikirtepe is for the catchment of Istanbul Finance Center, in other words, for the headquarters of the leading banks and financial institutions in Turkey, as well as the Central Bank of Turkey that is about to move there, for the residents of these institutions, financial institutions and banks, Fikirtepe is an ideal place to live in because it's very close, very well connected with metros and trains and underground lines, you name it, they have it, the connection-wise. Yet, Fikirtepe is an ideal area for professionally minded people to live in. Because professionally minded people who work hard from early hours of the morning till late, and make no mistakes, Istanbul Finance Center is going to be about making money, work, and hard work. It's the banking world. It's the finance world. These people, I know this because I've been in that world. What you want once you come home from work is peace and quiet. You don't want to be running around looking for a place to park your car. You don't want to be,
running for your groceries.
Exactly. Having no green around you because you have young children. You want your conveniences right at your fingertips. And Fikirtepe offers all of those within the easiest access of all major landmarks of Istanbul. In other words, Fikirtepe is a fantastic area for the 70,000 plus white-collar workers to live.
I see.
So Fikirtepe is kind of an area that supports Istanbul Finance Center, and actually the other way around, Istanbul Finance Center supports Fikirtepe. So they've been growing together as two big investments on the Asian side of Istanbul. Okay, so what you see as lifestyle, I see as investment. And this is a very, very interesting thing I want to mention here. You need a very heavy lifestyle demand in an area. People should want to live there
in order for
investors to realize
money.
Their gains. Yes. Their gains, whether it be capital growth, capital appreciation, or strong rental returns. If you don't have certain type of people who will want and prefer to live in Fikirtepe, and I'm more than confident there'll be many people who are going to want to live there.
I agree with that.
Then Fikirtepe prices will not go up as sharp as we're saying they will. Or properties in Fikirtepe will not command as premium rentals as I'm confident they will.
This will bring me to the income generated from those properties and what type of lettings we can do in Fikirtepe.
Now, Fikirtepe, because of its strategic central position, and certainly a very important factor that is right next door, Istanbul Finance Center, Istanbul Finance Center, the overflow of Istanbul Finance Center, will feed Fikirtepe with very strong rental income. Exactly as Amani said, whereas in Central Şişli, Central Beşiktaş, Central Beyoğlu, with our affordable city center strategy, we kind of look for doubling up of short-term lettings, Airbnb-style lettings, with long-term income. So we want to make sure that there's strong long-term income, long-term rental income, but we are more than happy if it is also Airbnb suitable, as you know. In Fikirtepe, we're not going to go so much for Airbnb suitable short-term lettings because in Fikirtepe, our figures show that rental returns from long-term lettings, stable contractual long-term lettings, are going to be very, very rewarding. The figures that I looked at today, I got Ferhat to actually do a study to look at 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom apartments in Fikirtepe and look at their rental rates. And then I compared it to our stock of 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms and how much we shall be putting them on the market and what the rates will be. You're looking at 5%, 6% net rental income on long-term contracts. Now, 5%, 6% rental return on long-term lettings in Istanbul is exceptional because the average in Istanbul today, even today, never mind people who got caught with old rental contracts and with the government legislation not being able to increase the rents or their yields being so slow. Even today, the average rental on long-term basis in Istanbul is just short of 5%. So if you're getting between 5 and 6%, if you're closing to 6%, you're doing well. You're doing well. And then you've got this beautiful capital growth, value growth that will reward you in a very good way in 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
So that's our Fikirtepe strategy. Again, the stock that we shall offer to market is limited. There are no more than 40 apartments. They're mainly 1 and 2 bedroom apartments and some 3 bedroom. But we shall offer them to you at prices where you shall be profiteering right up front when you buy. And of course, in several years, your profits will be significantly higher than the average price increase in Istanbul, which we expect will be in the region of between 2025 to 2030, will be in the region of 65 to 70%. That's the average price growth in Istanbul, which we expect will again be in line with the expected GDP, nominal GDP growth of the country.
Why not short term in Fikirtepe? Why long term?
Well, Fikirtepe isn't really a touristic area. Fikirtepe is a very Istanbulite area. It's a very local area. People who live in Fikirtepe, people who will move to Fikirtepe, are likely to be mainly city professionals, finance center professionals, and I would say mainly locals. I don't see Fikirtepe becoming a touristic area such as, and when I say touristic, I don't mean just international tourists. I mean local tourists too,
yes,
by the way.
In Istanbul, the return really goes back to the area, what type of lettings.
Yes.
Even if Fikirtepe, let's assume that it will allow the short-term lettings, I don't think the occupancy rate will be as high as areas like Shishli, Bayalo, Beşiktaş, even Kaytane. Hence the reason why with our sense projects in the European side, we go after the short-term, because yes, with the short-term, you will have slightly more from the return you will have on a long term. However, I have actually good news. I think so many people were hearing those rumors that as of this July, the increase or your rental income, the annual increase, the margin right now will be determined by the inflation numbers.
They're removing the cap.
Exactly.
They're removing that restrictive cap.
Actually, there will be a cap, but the cap will be fair enough because it will match the inflation rate.
Whatever the inflation is, you'll be able to increase your rent as a landlord in line with the inflation.
And the customer index, which gives you as investors on a long term in Fikirtepe, will give you the good return, the fair return of the market price. So each year we'll have more. You can increase more according to the inflation. So with the foreign currency, you're actually getting more. This is one. 2, being as easy to exit. I had many clients also in Fikirtepe buying and selling in the last 4-5 years. And those who are wishing to sell, usually they didn't apply for citizenship, so they can sell 1 year later or sometimes even a few months they can sell. We did have a very good, what you might call it, a fast exit plan in Fikirtepe because the demand is there. And the demand from locals also is way more than the tourists in there, because locals who've been to Fikirtepe, they know what it means to be in that part of actually Istanbul, that trendy, beautiful, amazing. I go, by the way, to Kadıköy almost on a weekly basis.
You actually like the Asian side of Istanbul quite a bit. Yeah.
So this makes a very good income, high income,
100%.
handsome numbers,
100%.
Security of investment. That's why actually right now we're talking about the long term. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about long term, because we did face, and many clients and investors, locals before foreigners, faced this problem. So with the new regulations, everything makes sense in Fikirtepe.
100%. Fikirtepe is primed. Fikirtepe is primed for very good gains.
Mhm.
Again, in my opinion, the next 6 to 8 months, there will not be major changes in the property prices in Turkey because we're going through a buy zone again.
Yes.
However, after that, expect the new wave to start. And I expect it to be a very handsome wave that will escalate prices quite significantly over the forthcoming 5 to 6 years. And the beauty of our Fikirtepe offer to you is that we got a bucket of 40 properties that we shall offer at heavily discounted prices. These are the properties that we as a company invested in back in 2020 when they were either off plan or pre-launch. So the prices we paid were prices in circulation then in 2020. And what we shall do is we shall offer you these properties that are ready to move in today, completed, at prices that we bought them in 2020, of course, plus a little markup.
Thank you so much, Cameron, for such amazing insights into the market. How was it? How it is right now, and how our prediction will be in the future? Because we always, and you can go back to our videos, guys, we always predict what will happen, or very close enough to what is happening right now in the market. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching us. Maybe today it took a little bit longer than what we actually planned to have, but there is a lot to talk about. Fikirtepe, the Asian side, lifestyle, investment. So reach out to me and to my team so we can help you to understand Fikirtepe more and to give you the insights of the market in Fikirtepe and definitely give you the right proposals and the right deals for your investment or lifestyle. Looking forward to hear from you guys, and please do comment down of the video, when you can please comment about if there is any touch point you would like to talk about more, or if there is a question that also we can answer also by comments. Thank you so much. See you next. Have a lovely day.
Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.